Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
You're about to take a deep dive into one of the biggest true crime cases in the universe. Or, at least, on our part of the planet. From the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.
Ever stumble upon a news story that just makes your head spin?
Yeah.
One of those that just leaves you with more questions than answers.
Yeah, absolutely. Happens all the time.
Well, that's what happened with the Sandra Birchmore case, so we decided to do a deep dive on this one.
Good idea.
The short version, and honestly, it doesn't even scratch the surface, but a young woman found dead.
Right.
Initially ruled a suicide. Pretty cut and dry, right?
Seemingly so, yeah.
But then, get this, 3 years later, boom.
What?
Her boyfriend's twin brother,
Oh, boy. Okay.
a former cop, is charged with her murder.
Wow.
We're going deep on this one today, using this U.S. News article by Alex Oliveira as our guide. And I got to tell you,
Yeah.
it's a wild one.
It's really a case that gets at you, you know? Like, just when you think you've heard it all.
It's got so many layers. Right? Abuse of power, you
Yeah.
got the hidden relationships, all playing out against the backdrop of a small town.
You said small town. I was thinking more like just the human heart, you know?
Oof, yeah, good point.
Like just how some of the darkest impulses can be lurking right beneath the surface, even in people you think you know.
Totally. So let's get back to the facts. We start with Sandra Birchmore.
Right.
She was only 22, just a baby herself, really, when she was found dead in her apartment
Sure.
back in February 2021. And like I said, open and shut, suicide, or so everyone thought.
Right.
Fast forward 3 years, August 2024. The story completely flips on its head.
That's when the investigation took that unexpected turn, right?
Totally. Charges are filed against, get this, Matthew Farwell,
Who's that?
the boyfriend's twin brother.
Oh, right.
But he's not just charged with murder,
Yeah.
he's charged with staging her death to look like a suicide.
Whoa, that adds a whole new layer of messed up to this whole thing. Like, that takes planning, premeditation. To even think about doing something like that, it just boggles the mind.
Chilling, really. What's that mean from, like, a detective's perspective?
You mean, like, how do you even begin to untangle that?
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? You got to think, okay, if someone's staging a scene, they're trying to control the narrative, right?
Right.
So you start looking for inconsistencies, things that don't quite add up, maybe the positioning of the body, or like you said, evidence that's just too perfect, too convenient. It's all about reading between the lines, you know?
Wow. So in this case, they managed to pull it off, at least for a while.
It happens, sadly. The justice system, it's not perfect, you know? It's not always about truth. Sometimes it's just about what you can prove. And in this case, it sounds like it took some pretty compelling evidence to overturn that initial ruling.
3 years worth of compelling evidence.
Exactly.
And now it gets even crazier. This is where my jaw hit the floor, honestly.
Okay.
Matthew, the boyfriend's twin who's been charged, well, he's got a twin brother, William Farwell.
Okay, so twin. Got it.
And hold on to your hat, because William is a former police officer as well.
Oh, come on.
And if that wasn't enough, court documents show that William had a sexual relationship with Birchmore just weeks before her death.
You've got to be kidding me. It's like something out of a soap opera.
I know, right? But it gets even more intense because get this, William knew about Birchmore's pregnancy.
Wait, so are we talking she was pregnant with Matthew's child while seeing his twin brother, William?
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh my God, that poor woman caught in the middle of this. It's just, I don't even know what to say.
It's a mess, right? So we've got two brothers, both cops, both involved with the same woman who was carrying one of their babies, and now one's accused of murdering her and making it look like a suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, this is the stuff movies are made of.
It's almost too much to wrap your head around what could possibly be the motive behind something like this. What would drive someone to go to such lengths?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is, and unfortunately, we may never know the full truth. But based on what we do know, it seems plausible that Matthew might have been trying to protect his brother William, considering the pregnancy and everything.
Especially given their careers, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Being police officers, they had reputations to uphold, careers to protect. It makes you wonder how much of this alleged cover-up was about protecting Sandra, and how much of it was about damage control, about saving their own necks.
That's the thing with these kinds of cases. The human element, it's tragic all around, isn't it?
It really is, especially for Sandra's family. Can you imagine losing someone you love is hard enough, but then to have it surrounded by this web of lies and suspicion for years, it's just devastating.
Absolutely. And speaking of suspicion, this whole thing hinges on these text messages between Birchmore and William.
Oh, yeah, those are pretty damning, huh?
The article doesn't get into specifics, but it does say they point to how do they put it? A sexual encounter between the two.
Yeah.
Right there in the parking lot of her apartment building.
Talk about risky business. It's like they weren't even trying to hide it.
It's bold, for sure.
It really makes you wonder what was going through their minds, Were they careless? Or did they think they were untouchable? It's a question we may never know the answer to.
Right. Those messages, along with some other stuff they're not releasing, seem to be the linchpin in all this. The reason they reopened the case and eventually charged Matthew.
It's amazing what a little digital trail can reveal, right?
Seriously. And if that wasn't enough, there's more. Remember how we were talking about careers? Well, both of these guys, Matthew and William, they've been permanently barred from being cops in Massachusetts now.
Yeah.
Decertified, which is a big deal.
Huge. That's not something that happens every day, is it?
Not at all. It basically means they're considered unfit to serve ever again.
Which begs the question, what took so long?
Right. Like, was there something in their past, in their conduct, that maybe people missed or ignored? This case just keeps getting deeper,
It really highlights the need for transparency and accountability within institutions like law enforcement, doesn't it? When something like this happens, it erodes public trust, and rightfully so.
Makes you wonder if this whole thing was just a big old cover-up from the get-go.
It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely raises some serious questions.
It does. It really does. What are your thoughts on how this will all play out?
Well, it's anyone's guess at this point. But one thing's for sure. This case is a tragedy for everyone involved.
This whole thing just reminds us, things aren't always what they seem.
Truth can be a slippery thing, can't it?
It can, and in this case, it took 3 long years to even get a glimpse of it.
The truth will out, as they say.
Let's hope so, for Sandra's sake, and for everyone who knew and loved her.
I hope justice is served, whatever that looks like.
I do too. This case, it's about betrayal, it's about deceit, it's about the terrible things people can do when they think they can get away with it.
And let's not forget about the abuse of power, especially by those sworn to protect and serve. That's a whole other aspect of this that deserves a closer look.
Absolutely. And hopefully this case sparked some bigger conversations about accountability, transparency, and the role of law enforcement in our society.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about one woman or one family, is it?
No, it's about all of us, right? And the kind of world we want to live in. One where justice prevails, even if it takes time.
Well said.
This deep dive has been heavy, folks. It's a lot to unpack, but it's important, What are your thoughts on how this case will play out? How do you think it will impact the community and the justice system?
Yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Don't be afraid to speak up and share your thoughts. Every voice matters.
Exactly. Hit us up in the comments, share your theories. Let's keep this conversation going.
Because the more we talk about these difficult issues, the better chance we have of finding solutions.
And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay curious.
And most importantly, be kind to one another. You never know what someone else is going through.
Words to live by. We'll see you next time.
See you then.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.